Hello, moms and dads. This is Karla Marie coming to you from the Williams School of Passionate Pursuit. I wanted to come to you and to record a couple videos. We get a lot of questions online and everywhere we go about what is unschooling, how do you unschool, what is this all about? So, wanted to come to you, let you know what unschooling is to us, why we chose to do it, how it affects our family and our household, how we do it. This won't be a day by day what our day looks like video because we'll be doing that at another time. But wanted to just kind of tell you a little bit about what unschooling actually is. A lot of times people want an actual definition or a checklist or how do you do it? And a lot of times that is very different. You probably get tired of hearing that when you ask unschoolers that. Every day is different, every family is different, but it can't be more true. It actually is different. And what unschooling is to you depends upon your family, the dynamics, your children, and what their passions are. And so I'll share with you exactly kind of what it means, but I'll also share with you what it means to us and how we unschool in our household. But I wanted to start with a disclaimer because I don't want to misrepresent myself or any other group of homeschooler. Um, we consider ourselves unschoolers is probably the closest description to what it is that we do. Other words that we use: child-led learning, interest-led learning, passion-led learning, world schooling, lifelong learners. The list goes on and on. Really, is an organic way of learning and evolving into who you were created to be. And so I actually we're not considered radical unschoolers. We actually are more of what some would consider an academic unschooler when it comes to applying unschooling principles to our learning methods. However, it has evolved and changed the way that we parent our children. Um, just because it happens to do that. But we're not considered radical unschoolers where our whole lifestyle, our whole life is governed by an unschooling philosophy. So I just wanted to give you that disclaimer, help you understand what the differences are so that no one is confused. But we kind of consider ourselves unschoolers or child-led learners because that's the best description for what it is and how we operate. But as far as my background, I was actually in public school all my life. My husband was as well. We were decent students. I myself did not like school. I'm kind of a dreamer, drifter. School always felt like it was in the way of what I really wanted to accomplish in life. And so I actually unschooled myself the last year of high school before going away to college. And it was an eye-opening experience. And so I kind of have a little personal experience with this before trying it in our own household. But I did not like school growing up. And I had dreams and goals and I wanted to get on with it. And so that's kind of where where I came from. And my husband was, decent in school, and he was a Marine and spent years overseas, and then decided to go to college. And so he's always been very stringent and methodical when it comes to education. And I always, even though I myself didn't care for school, I still felt like there were certain rules that had to be followed. And so it was kind of hard to get away from that. But I'll talk about that in a minute. That's how our unschooling or our homeschooling journey began. Originally, because I had my oldest daughter, my oldest three children, and at the time I only had two children in school. One was in kindergarten and one was in second grade. And my oldest child, she was having a very hard time. It had nothing to do with the school, nothing to do with the school system or even the teacher. The teacher was an awesome teacher, but the needs that she had just couldn't be met in an average school setting. And so we decided to bring her home. So I started homeschooling with her by herself first. And then that following fall, I actually decided to bring my kindergartner home. So he's only gone to school through kindergarten. And we did everything by the book. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what homeschooling was. Lord, I had no idea there were so many resources available or that so many people did it, let alone that there were other African American families that did it. I was amazed once I jumped into the homeschooling community how resourceful and how many opportunities there were for growth and learning. But in the beginning, I was clueless. So what I did is I called the only person at the time that I knew that was homeschooling, and I just ordered all the curriculum that she had. And We hated it. We did it for almost 3 years, but I really had no idea until I began to join online, groups and things of that nature to really know what else was out there, what else could help us really teach our children in a more creative way. So we ordered a online, I guess you could say, 5 subject curriculum in a box, and we just filled out workbooks all day, every day. That's all we did. And I'm a very creative person, and I like to be moving. And so I really felt like it was stunting my growth. I felt like it was affecting my relationship with my children. It just wasn't working. And so I'd like to encourage you today, if something that you're doing is not working, you have the freedom, and thank God, the privilege of homeschooling to change it. And those things that are working, do more of it. And so we'll talk more about that in a minute. But so we were very regimented for the first 3 years, and it was just too much. I mean, we're talking math lessons ending in tears, and that's not really, one of the reasons many of us decide to homeschool is because we want to develop a deeper relationship with our children, and that wasn't happening. We were actually growing further apart because of my role and what I thought had to be done. Basically, I was doing school at home. We had a full classroom that was basically whatever you would see in a classroom in a school. We had it in our basement, and we used it for about 2 months, and then it went completely dormant. We didn't use it anymore because it wasn't functional, and it just did not work for the way that my children needed the freedom to learn and explore. So I began to be very just really do some research. Like, something has to change. This isn't working. Learning shouldn't be this way. And I'm aware that everything you have to learn isn't going to be fun and exciting and woo, but it was not working. And my children, they were memorizing facts long enough to put them down on an answer sheet, and shortly thereafter they've forgotten, and they don't even care about what it is that they read or that they wrote down. And so I knew something needed to change. I just didn't know what. So I began to do some research and do a lot of reading before I decided to approach my husband about it. I like to research and make sure I have all my ducks in a row. And so I did a lot of research and reading and writing and watching videos and doing as much as I can. And I kept coming across unschooling. And I'm like, what is this? What in the world is this? And it sounded really bizarre to me. And I'm thinking, these people are crazy. Are you serious? So they just throw out all curriculum and do nothing? Because that's what it appeared to be compared to what it was that I was doing, which was very regimented. And so I began to, but I still said there's something to this. So I decided, there's certain things that I want to be able to pull from this, and there's certain things that I can, do without. So I began to recognize I had that freedom to give and to take what works for me and to leave out what doesn't work for me. And I'm thankful for the homeschooling gives us that privilege. But I began reading. And then shortly thereafter, when I started doing my research, we decided to adopt 3 more children. And they came in March of 2013. At that time, I knew something needed to change drastically, because if it didn't, we would definitely turn into a complete school-at-home classroom format, because there would be no other way. How else am I going to properly educate 6 children? It just wasn't going to happen without me driving myself and them insane, and we didn't want that. So what I did, I continued my research, and my husband's always been my number one cheerleader. So I wasn't afraid to approach him with an unschooling idea, but I wanted to make sure that I understood it as well as I could before I presented it to him. And so as the new little ones came, we noticed that there were a lot of gaps in their education, and things that I would assume that most kids at that age would have known. And I thought, now I could sit here and drill facts into them because I feel like they're behind, which is relative, right? Or I can spend this next year being mom and loving on them and caring for them and bonding with them and allowing them to evolve naturally. And so we chose the latter. And it has proven to be the best choice that we could have ever made for them. Over that time period, they began to learn and pick up, because we really believe in providing an extremely resource-rich environment full of opportunities, creativity, color, and vibrant activities that allow them to explore and really, 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 learn new things. And as we began to see them evolve, they began to teach themselves things that we thought we had to teach them. We thought we had to be involved in that learning process. And we began to see that when given the proper environment, they were doing it on their own, obviously with our nudging and with us providing the information and answering questions and strewing more and more information and activities. We began to see something evolve beautifully with all 6 of our children. And I'm so thankful for that opportunity and that transition period of us just trying to bond as a family and not being so rigid really helped us transition into unschooling better than any other opportunity would have. So we had a lot of aha moments, but I wanted to kind of let you guys know, why it works for us and why it can work for some other families. And what I don't want to do is become an unschooling evangelist. That's not my goal, to transition everyone that's a homeschooler into an unschooler. That's not the point of this video. My point is basically to say, if something is working, do more of it. If something's not working, change it. Get creative. Do whatever you can do to bring out the best in your children and to help them evolve and to be what God created them to be. And there are so many opportunities and ways of going about that. Okay, so wanted to make sure that I said that and that people don't feel pressured, to do what I do, but to do what works for you and your family, because that's how you're going to be successful. But I wanted to give you a couple examples of why it's working for us and how exciting it is to see our children evolve into these amazing beings. But I'll give you an example. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and for the last 2 years, she has been home with us as a part of our family. And she is so incredibly passionate about the human body and medicine. I've never seen anything like it. Some people may say, oh, that's just a phase. I know the difference between a phase and a clue. And this is definitely a clue. I would be very, very surprised if she didn't end up doing something in the medical field. And as her, and really with any of our children, as their passions change or evolve, we change and evolve with them. So it's not to say, oh, you said you wanted to be a doctor at 8, so you can't change that. No, she's learning and she's growing and she's passionate about that right now. And so we give her as much information and activities and resources as we can to help her with that right now. And then if that changes, then we will give her as much as she needs with whatever her next passion and interest is. And so that's how we value learning in our home. And then I have another daughter, and I'm going to try my hardest not to get emotional about this. But my oldest daughter, giving her the opportunity to be who she is has been one of the greatest blessings as a parent. I can honestly say that 8 out of 10 math sessions ended in tears. And there was a huge wedge coming between me and my oldest child. And I didn't want that. I wanted us to come closer together. Nobody homeschools because they want to be further from their children. And it was really, really, really getting to me. And I knew that I needed to do something drastic to change that, to change the direction. She's getting older, and I did not want this to be her view and her memory of both her relationship with me or with school or with learning. And I felt like I was killing her desire to learn. So we backed off. We backed off some of the subjects that were causing so much emotion and began to let her evolve into someone that has been amazing. I enrolled her in a college level poetry class. It was just a shot in the dark, just something that I thought, let's try this, because sometimes you may not know what they're interested in, and you have to kind of put some things in front of them to help them discover that, hey, this is a passion, or this is something that brings out the best in me. And so I enrolled her in a college level poetry class. What evolved from that was amazing. My 12-year-old daughter had the ability to express herself in writing like I had never seen before. And ever since then, she has been writing short stories. She's been writing poems. She has been reading like crazy, and she's passionate about history and passionate about sociology and the world and missions and social justice and foster care and all these things. And she's become just the most amazing writer, the most amazing public speaker. But I would have never known that had I decided that because I started this curriculum, I had to finish it. Or because we started this particular math book, we have to finish it by such and such a date. I threw all of that out and said, God, help me, help my child be everything that you've created her to be. And he answered that prayer. He answered that prayer. And I am telling you, following her lead and allowing her to be who God created her to be has been one of the greatest blessings of being her mom. It really has been. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're in a slump, if you are having a hard time, things just aren't working, change it. You don't have to finish the curriculum. You don't. You don't have to finish the book. You can make a hard right. You can set it down and say, enough. We've got to do something different. Again, I'm not telling everybody that you have to embrace unschooling, but I am saying get creative. Do something different if what you're doing is not working. Your children will benefit. You will benefit. Your household will benefit. Your relationships in your household will benefit. It has been a blessing to us. I have a few children with special needs, and we've been able to cater to their special needs in such an amazing way and see just the brilliance that comes out of it. What someone else in a public school setting, or any school setting for that matter, even a traditional homeschool setting, would say are setbacks, or would say are special needs that would limit a person's ability to do great things. I've been able to see a few of my sons completely blow all of those perceptions out of the box because I've allowed them to evolve naturally and organically and see really what it is that makes them tick and help them develop that. And as our children are focused on the things that they are the most passionate about, we help relate other real world issues to that thing. And so if a child is passionate about something, I help them understand how math relates to that. What is the history behind that? What is the science behind that? How is everything related to art? Can I see math in the sky? Can I see math in an art project? Being able to relate everything, not separating subject by subject, but relating everything to every topic, has been the greatest blessing for us to be able to really see holistically how education actually works and get really creative in how we present things to our children. So I just want to be an encouragement to you. Mom, Dad, you don't have to finish it. You don't have to keep going if something is not working. You can change it. Be encouraged. You're the best person for this job. I know that you can do it. You know that you can do it. You know deep down inside you got this. You just need the encouragement, and you need to sometimes toot your own horn and say, you know what? I rock and I can do this. Get you some resources, read, research, get ideas. Stop comparing yourself to other people and really get creative in meeting each and every need of your child. You can do it. I guarantee you can do it. And you'll be happy with the changes that you've made when you begin to see your children become all God created them to be. So in our next video, I am going to be presenting, or one of our next videos, presenting to you kind of what our days look like. And again, every single day is different. I have 6 children. We are a busy household, and everybody is like 6 different entrepreneurs going in 6 different directions. But it is a blessing to see them evolving into such amazing kids. And so I'll be sharing that with you in one of our next videos so that you can kind of see a day in our life, or kind of an example of a day in our life. But thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe if you have not yet. And I will be coming to you in another video very soon. Thank you.